Welcome to the third in a series of short videos explaining ModeShift Stars, the online travel planning tool
available free to all Hampshire Local Authority and Southampton City Council schools and academies.
In this video, we will be looking in more detail on how to add hands-up surveys, set annual targets, add travel and supporting initiatives, consultations, and the STARS accreditation system. So firstly, go to the modeshiftsstars.org homepage and log in to your school landing page. Firstly, we're going to be looking at adding a survey. So we will go to the cogs icon where it says Add Survey for School. You can choose to add individual classes, individual staff members and whole staff. You need to do this once a year to keep your STARS accreditation up to date. For a true picture, it's best to do everyone at once and do it at the same time each year. Now, you fill in, if you're going to be doing individual classes, you put the name of the class here and the year group. You also need to record the number of pupils absent in that day. If there are 30 pupils in a class and one is away, you'd enter a total of 29 responses in each of these columns for the two questions. How do you usually travel to school? And how would you like to travel to school? So both of these must add up to the same number. And it should be, in this case, if you've got one absence in a class of 30, they should both add up to 29. Now, for primary, infant and junior schools, you could use these forms for each of the class teachers to complete. And you can get them from your travel planning contact. They can be emailed to you. It would be a great job for your junior road safety officers to collect the information for you to input under your own login. Once you have loaded your information, always press the Save button. For larger schools, such as secondary / large primary schools, it would be better to send a link to each class teacher or tutor for them to do their own class or tutor group. You can do this by going to the cogs icon and select Generate Survey User. You will then receive an email with a link to distribute to staff with full instructions and suggested text for your email to staff too. On the STAR system, under the Users for the School tab, the user type would appear as a survey user rather than a school user. There is a guidance note on how to conduct a whole school survey. Once you have added a survey, a tab will appear, Surveys this year. If you click on a survey you have added, you can see the pupil travel data by mode of travel. This is calculated by number and percentage. So for instance, in this case, 28 pupils usually travel by car, which adds up to a percentage of just over 20%. Once you have added several years' worth of surveys, a Pupil Travel Modal Shift tab will appear. This shows a summary of the pupil travel modal shift over the years. So for instance, if we move along in this case, at the beginning of the travel planning process, 28% of families travelled to school by car. And as you can see, this has slowly decreased and in fact virtually halved last year and has gone up a bit now, but you can see how the modal shift has changed. This modal shift is not only showed in a table format, you can also see it in a graph format. If you go up to the guidance bar here and click on modal shift, and you find your school, and click Summary View, you can look at the modal shift per transport mode over the years that the school has been involved in travel planning. Staff travel surveys do not currently show in these tabs and can be viewed under the tab Appendix 1, All Surveys. Currently, staff modal shift is not part of the accreditation criteria. When you are conducting your school surveys, for them to count for your STARS accreditation, you need to achieve a 80% response rate for the pupil surveys and a 50% for staff. Once you have your survey results, you will be able to set travel targets for the year. So if you click on your travel survey results, so I'm going to go to surveys this year, and we click and look at the results for this school for this year. When setting targets, it is best to set them for modes of transport where the difference between the actual and the preferred is high. You will have the most chance of persuading people to change then. So for instance, in this case, currently over 13% cycle, but if you look at how many would prefer to cycle, over 43% would actually like to cycle. So it would be good to set a cycle target in this instance. Now, to set an actual travel target, you need to go to the cogs where it says add a new target. So we looked at the targets before for this school and we decided that cycling might be a good bet. So if you click on here and click cycle, it will show you the current percentage of those who currently do cycle and the percentage of those who would like to cycle. So this is where you can put in that you would like maybe to aim for a target of 15% to cycle next year. When setting targets, always set one where you're going to try and decrease car alone use. Like for instance, in this school, if we looked at the car target, currently 20%, and if you look, only nearly 6% would actually like to come by car. So you could probably reduce that target by a good 1 or 2%, and it could be achievable as there is obviously a will to not travel by car. Now, once you've actually set your targets, always remember to save. One thing to point out, there is an other button, and this is geared towards special schools who may need to adapt their targets to suit their needs. For instance, a special school might actually be setting a target where they're encouraging a percentage of their pupils to travel independently. The system does allow changes to be made to meet the needs of all schools. Now we're going to look at adding travel and supporting initiatives. These are the travel activities that make up your STARS travel plan. There is a document under guidance which outline these. So if we open that up and we press I to view it. Now, the initiatives that are outlined in yellow are the travel initiatives, and those in green are the supporting initiatives. And if you want to get bronze, you need 10 of these and 5 supporting. Silver is 20 of these and 10 supporting, and gold is 25 of these and 15 supporting, as well as there are additional gold initiatives that are required for the gold award. Using the cogs icon, you can add a new initiative. So just working our way through here. Here, your initiative could be planned. Once it's completed, you can click on there. And once completed, but you haven't yet added evidence to show that you've completed it, this message will show alongside your initiative. But once you've added the evidence, the completed sign will go next to your initiative. But you need to change the status once you have completed the initiative. In here, you want to put the appropriate section. So on the document showing all the different initiatives, they were under different headings. So, like for instance, if you were doing Walk to School Week, that would appear under walking and scooting. Once you have chosen the area of your initiative, you can actually put in the actual initiative there. In the action title details, this should be a quick summary of what you've planned. And then in this section, you put the name of the lead person who will be organising the activity. And then in this section, you would give further details of what you were planning to do, what it involved, and an outline of the activity. Obviously, this is the date when you hope to complete the activity, and this is the date you have completed the activity. And good idea to put the number of pupils involved, because it might not always be the whole school. It might only be a class, but and also the number of adults that are involved as well. Once you've completed the activity, explain a little bit more about it, what happened, what was involved, etc., etc. And then here you need to upload evidence to show what the activity involved. And it could be a letter home to parents from the head teacher or class teacher. It might be an article in your school newsletter. It might be, if you're doing Walk to School Week, it might be a copy of the pledge card, show how children recorded the journeys to and from school, all sorts of things. Or it could be a photograph. Obviously, when you're taking photographs, always make sure that you have permissions to take those photos. And of course, once you've completed the activity, always press click and save. You can always go back to the initiative and upload evidence at a later date. Now, this school has a number of initiatives, and I just want to draw your attention to here. The initiatives only last for 3 years, and in this case there are a number of expired initiatives, and it will indicate this on the page next to them. And when an initiative is in date and has been completed, it will show completed here. And in this case, a planned activity. This is the reporting element, so it's always good to put quite a lot of detail in this area so that you can see at a glance what was involved, what activity took place, what initiatives been completed. It saves you maybe going in, if you wanted to look at what's been done in school, this is a good summary for you. Now we're going to be moving on to consultations. These are now included in the STARS programme to ensure that those who should be are involved in the school travel plan. Some schools in the past have gained bronze and the senior management team have not been involved. It's really important that your STARS travel plan is owned by the school. Consultations are required with certain groups. Now there's a guidance note on this. So the groups we're talking about are pupils, parents, staff, senior management team and governors, residents, businesses and the local community. You can have any combination of consultations. For the bronze you need to have 2 consultations, the silver 7 and for the gold 10 consultations. If you wish to add a consultation, you go to the cogs icon and go to add new consultation. And again, it's the same thing. It's either planned or completed, and you put your type of consultation in there, the action title, action details, and the person responsible. Just to give you a few examples of consultations, you might have engagement with your local authority, and that could be where you've simply had a discussion with your travel planning officer about travel issues at the school, and they may well have come out to meet you, or you've taken part in STARS training. You can put that record that action here, and any evidence would be like you could upload an email correspondent or an invitation to a training day. So that would give you a consultation. It may be that you might decide to do a more in-depth travel survey with either staff, pupils and parents, and that would be a really good consultation. I know in some schools the pupil council or junior road safety officers have actually written to local residents informing them of the travel planning activities that are being done in school. We're now going to move on to look at the accreditation progress. Having added information to your STARS travel plan, you'll want to see how far you are towards completing your STARS level. So you can click on the Accreditation Progress tab. All will be highlighted in green if you've completed a particular level, and there will be a Submit button here usually. But in this case, this school is actually a gold school, so they've completed various levels. Now, once you've completed a particular level, please can you let us know if you're ready to submit your award? And that will be when everything has actually gone green in that level. Just simply email your travel planning contact. And it's just that then we can work together to see if there are any issues that need to be worked through before we send your award to ModeShift for accreditations. We put accreditations through termly, so don't panic if you miss the end of term deadline. It can simply go in the following term. Just a couple more things to consider. Firstly, sign off. The travel plan must be signed off by the senior management team, usually the head teacher as a minimum, and all the other members of the working group. And in fact, it can be signed on their behalf. This means that you agree that the evidence you've uploaded can be viewed externally, i.e. if there's any photos of children, you have sought permissions for these photos to be on the website. Now, the senior management team are required to provide a statement of endorsement. I can give you a couple of examples of the statement. In this particular school, we're delighted to maintain our Gold Stars Award, and once schools are fully operational again, our newly appointed JRSOs are keen to run travel activities in school. So this is for a school that's been just recently renewed their Gold Award. And then this is another example statement for a school that gained their Gold Award. Over the last 3 years, we have noticed the impact the STARS Award has had on the reduction of traffic. Children are better prepared with awareness of road safety whilst walking, cycling and scootering. They are able to talk about how to keep themselves safe, such as wearing helmets and wearing appropriate clothing. The children are also aware of the dangers of air pollution to the environment and how travelling in alternative ways can lessen the risk. The ModeShift Award has had a positive impact on the children and staff. Once you've achieved your STARS accreditation, you might want to generate a copy of your travel plan to upload on your school website. To do this, you go to the cogs and scroll down to Generate School Travel Plan. And you click OK to put it in a PDF. You can find your generated travel plan on your school information page at the bottom. And you can either download it here or view it by clicking on the eye. Once you've generated your travel plan, You could upload it onto the school website along with your STARS logo. Just a few final things to consider. It's important that you keep updating your travel plan with what you do each year, especially as you have a changing school population. Hands-up surveys need to be completed annually to keep it valid, achieving an 80% response rate for pupils and 50% for staff. Each initiative needs a piece of supporting evidence for it to count beyond bronze level accreditation. It's important to discuss with senior management team how everyone in the school community is going to contribute to the school travel plan. Ofsted will not award outstanding if your school doesn't achieve the children activity levels required. Your STARS travel plan can help towards this. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you found it useful, and the travel planning team look forward to signing off your STARS travel plans and awards soon.